to Stephanie Bernard's and It's a Mystery Talk Show. Today's topic, books.
What book?
A Prayer for Owen Meany by John Irving.
You mean this book? In Chapter 7 for A Prayer for Owen Meany, it starts off with Owen and John practicing the shot, aka the basketball shot. After practicing the shot, Owen explains the reason why he actually dismantled the armadillo after all these years, and he believes that he is God's instrument. John is dearly irritated by this, and he doesn't believe that Owen is God's instrument. They argue about the shot until they manage to complete it in under 3 seconds, which compels Owen to say that the two of them should even go faster than that.
Next, Johnny and Owen take a trip to Boston to explore the area. Although it seemed like a harmless adventure, Owen drags Johnny on a mission to unravel about Johnny's mother's dress. They find a clothing store called Gerald's, which matched the tag that was on the dress, and after a long discussion with the owner and his son, Johnny and Owen find out that Johnny's mom, Tabitha, was known as the Lady in Red, and performed at the Orange Grove. Johnny and Owen leave the premises to visit Tabitha's former singing teacher to unravel more about her singing career. Much to their avail, the singing teacher, Mr. McSweeney, could not provide the useful information on Johnny's biological mother and the history of his mother's singing career.
And now to the scene of which you will find them discovering Gerald's.
Notice anything familiar, John?
So, what's familiar about it?
Gerald's.
Okay. Didn't Mom see the store burn down?
Yeah, she said that she couldn't remember the store. Let's go and find out. Have you seen this woman?
Show you a picture. Oh, that, yeah. No, I've never seen her.
What about your father? Like,
I don't know. Let me go ask my dad, okay?
Okay. For real? For real?
Yes.
Are you like 100% sure?
I am 100% sure that this place will never burn down.
Do you like want to like? Do you want to make an oath right now? Stop your heart right now. Like,
My oath is going to my soul right now. This building will never burn down.
well, actually, like, you know how we mentioned that this is her son? Like, she actually died.
She's dead.
Yeah.
It is later mentioned in the chapter that Owen foresees his death and does not allow Johnny to take a glimpse of his diary and know exactly how he dies.
Halfway throughout the book, we are introduced to a new character named Larry Lish, a student at Gravesend Academy, who infuriates Owen when he explains that John F. Kennedy, Owen's idol, is having an intimate relationship with Marilyn Monroe. Larry's mother, Mitzi Lish, confirmed this information and Owen retaliates her actions by striking back. However, this caused an uproar with Mr. White, and he uses this incident as an excuse to expel Owen. Although that is carried out, many people want Owen to continue attending school, so as an alteration, Owen is on probation and has sessions with Dr. Doller.
One morning, Owen discovers that his parking spot was taken by Dr. Dolder, so he hollers at the basketball team to remove the car. He then gets inspired by a great idea. He tells the basketball team to move the car into the auditorium. When Mr. White finds out, he tells all the teachers to help him move the car out of the auditorium. Unfortunately, the car is way too heavy for all the teachers, so they were unable to move it out of the car. So Mr. White gets the idea to expel Owen by saying that he created the fake ideas in Grayson Academy, and Owen gets expelled. Owen gets paid back by removing the statue of Mary Magdalene in front of the Catholic school and puts it in the auditorium. Mr. Miller, the Reverend, notices this and sends up a prayer to Owen, and everybody else follows him. Mr. White sees this, and he's telling them to stop, but they do not stop praying. Instead, they continue to pray, and Mr. White notices that he has lost this war.
Rolls in, but Owen and Meany is forbidden to graduate from Gravesend Academy. Regardless of this, the students still cheer for him.
The book closes by Johnny giving the readers an insight of what Owen has written in his diary. He describes his future death and what was written in the tombstone that Owen saw back then when he was playing the Ghost of Christmas Yet.
A really good summary of the chapter.
Yes, it really was.
But now, for a change of scenery. Well, that's a really interesting summary of chapter 7. Doesn't this chapter remind you of something?
Yes, it reminds me of the lyrics of a song that I remember hearing and just can't remember the name. I think the lyrics went by, if heaven and hell decide that they both are satisfied, illuminate that knows of the vacancy signs. If there is no one beside you when your soul embarks, then I'll follow you into the dark.
Wow, it really does connect to the story.
Yes, it really does. You can get the overall meaning of it. Welcome back to Stephanie Bernard's and It's a Mystery Talk Show. It's a mystery left right now, but we are here with one of our bloggers, Caesar Salad, to explain one of our quotes, and which will show up right now.
Okay, so this is an excerpt from a prayer from Owen Meany in chapter 7. My hands were the instrument, he said. God has taken my hands. I am God's instrument. Owen Meany tells his best friend John Wheelwright for the message he was giving when he took the armadillo's claws off. Since it was his friends that dealt the killing blow to his mother, he would atone for this by becoming God's instrument.
Now, Caesar Salad has left since she already analyzed the quote. Now, bringing in a normal blogger, the only normal one we have on this show, Berenice, to explain and analyze another quote.
Hi guys, I'm Berenice, the normal one.
Hello there, Berenice, and welcome to Stephanie Bernard's and It's a Mystery Talk Show. It's a mystery still flying around somewhere. Who knows where she is? It's a mystery.
Thank you for inviting me here.
Yes, so will you analyze one of our quotes?
Which quotes?
A quote in a prayer for Owen Meany.
Sure, can you show me?
Yes, it is. Which page?
Oh, this quote? I know when I'm going to die, and now a dream has shown me how I'm going to die. I'm going to be a hero. I trust that God will help me because what I'm supposed to do looks very hard. So I think what the quote actually means is that Owen's faith in God makes him believe that the dream he had was a message for him, that this will be his job to do on earth. I believe in fate and have faith that God has sent me my orders as his instrument on this planet. His orders will make me a hero.
So our chapter is chapter 7, and the main key points in this chapter are Owen's dream that he has,
Oh, it's not related.
the red dress that Owen and Johnny find, or the story about it, and Johnny's mom's secret identity, basically, and the statue that Owen cuts off the head and the arms at the end of the chapter, or near the end of the chapter. So,
Well, the overall
Wait, what?
meaning of the for one of the symbols, the red dress, it begins with well, the meaning of the symbol of the red dress is because basically in the beginning of the chapter, John and Owen seek out to find the truth about John's mom's hidden identity, only to find out that Tabitha was known as the Lady in Red, who performs at the Orange Grove, where she would be seen wearing a red dress. The red dress symbolizes not only how the color red associates with love and passion, but it also symbolizes boldness. When John's mom wore the dress, it shows how she is more open up, meaning she's available and to the extent of having an affair with Reverend Merrill, which is revealed in the later chapters leading to the birth of John. It is also shows how courageous she is when she wore the dress performing, because the color red is such an appealing color.
Okay, does anybody else have like a different like
Perspective?
next person? Yeah, perspective, there we go. About the red dress. Okay.
Well, it wasn't just that, but basically red. It's basically the one color that she never really wanted to wear. She was wearing black and white. She never really wore red until the play, when she and John had to pretend that they were fighting or
I
arguing
like the
that they
color
were
red
not.
pretty much
Oh, during the
flashed
fight.
back to the past.
I think red is like being like bold and like basically like showing herself out there, like kind of like she leads like two lives. One, like when she wears like black and white,
The
she's
dress.
mostly like conservative and like not very open, but then when she wears when she becomes the lady in red and wears that red dress, she becomes more open and like just like a different person. What? Okay, so the whole like everyone was praying for Owen Meany, that could also be like read as that Owen was basically like their Messiah or slash Jesus Christ too, because they had believed in Owen, they're praying for Owen, and they're essentially like in that scene they are his followers and stuff. Okay, so that was a summary. Now we'll move on to symbols. So the key three main symbols in the chapter was, of course, Owen's dream, the red dress, and the statue.
Lady Magdalene.
Yeah. So I don't know what else.
Well, the red dress is basically the symbol of how they find out the hidden identity of his mother. But it also, the color red, it's associated with love and passion, but it also symbolizes boldness. It also shows how always John's mother always only wears black and white. So the red color basically signifies a different person right there. It signifies her other life as the woman who worked in Orange Grove.
I also kind of feel like that the point that she didn't like to wear the color red was that she didn't like her past, or it was more like she did not explain
Wanted
it.
to move on from it.
Yeah, pretty much, and thus she didn't want to wear the color red as often as she did before when she used to sing at the Orange Grove, I think.
Like, what I thought about the red dress was that, like, you know how she had an affair with, Red Merrill, like, John's dad? Like, she wore that dress while she was having an affair. And I think that red dress, like, as, Jessica mentioned, is like a boldness and courage. And, like, after she met, Dan, she started, like, she stopped wearing the red dress because it also symbolizes how, like, she's not open anymore. Like, do you understand it?
Yeah.
Like, cause like, you know how red dress is like passion and it's like a appealing color. So like when she wears that dress, she like attracts people. And like after she met Dan, like that's when she started wearing the black and white. Or like after she had John, like it's to show that she's not open anymore and like she's not that kind of person anymore. So that's what I think about the red dress.
Well, the other two symbols, we still need to talk about Owen's dream and the statue.
The statue. Basically, the statue is another symbolic figure because basically, Owen, when he takes it from in front of the Catholic Church and bolts it in front of inside the auditorium from his school in Grayson Academy, he basically removes the arms and the head, making the statue look more beseeching and more helpless than anything.
How about the dream?
The dream is like foreshadowing Owen's death, cause like in his dream he sees like how he's gonna die, like how he's supposed to die, and how he becomes a hero. That's why he signed up for the bar. And even though Hester and John was like opposed to it, but like Owen still believed that like he's like a hero, and that he's God's instrument.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
pretty much God's destiny for him.
Yeah, and it's like,
It's like
it's also
it's
just a draw parallel
eight.
between like Owen, Minnie, and him being Jesus Christ, because how Jesus Christ foretold his death, and now Owen like knows his death. You could see the
And
parallel
he could
between
like
the two.
hear the voices of God.
Yeah.
I think he could.
And then we're gonna go to the Tumblr page, right?
Yeah, okay, so now we're moving on to theme. Now, what exactly is the main theme of this chapter?
I can't find it. Okay. The main thing that we all thought was an unexpected event can open the door to many others. Because, as we know, it all starts off of them. They were in college now, I assume, and because of them going to their university that they are currently, they were allowed to be excused on Wednesdays or Fridays if they ever felt like it. So what they did is decide to go to Boston, that of which they decided to go to a bar called Old Freddy's at first, and they watched a stripper, which Owen then gets disturbed and leaves the club and decided to roam around Boston in a way. And as they roamed around, they eventually did find the Gerald's store, that of which they soon burned down, which leads to more unexpected events, such as them discovering some clues to who his father was and his past of his mother, which led to more unexpected events that Yeska will take over.
There's also a religious belief inside of it, because basically when Jesus Christ died, his death opened the doors to heaven for any other souls to enter. So it's like Owen's Meany's death is the savior of other souls.
Okay. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, that was the theme. Now we move on to vocab, which I have on the thing. On this Tumblr, which is also on John Wheelwright's Tumblr. Like we have the picture of Boston, the red dress, his pose throughout the chapter, the statue, aka another major symbol. Okay, so the vocab, or the chapter 7 vocab, number 1 is God, and it's basically Owen's main belief is that he is God's instrument, and he continues to like have faith in God, and like basically he's just like really religious. The second one is the dream, and the dream is just covers Owen's dream throughout the chapter and how it has great significance in the story, and like it foretells the death, and is basically what the chapter, you could say what the chapter is about. Number 3 is faith, and it's basically just Owen's faith in God, like, and how his faith in God is the main support within the story, and he never gives up with believing in God. His faith is strong and everlasting compared to Johnny's, where it kind of fluctuates.
Owen
And
pretty
stuff.
much believes as long as you have faith, you can pretty much do everything
Yeah.
or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
believe
even
it.
he even mentions it in front of the chat in the first part of the chapter when they were doing the shot. When they finally completed it under 3 seconds, he said, "Faith gets you anywhere. You just have to believe."
Mhm. Okay, so the fourth vocab word is red, and the color red basically signifies blood, passion, love, like we mentioned earlier. But in the story, it's the only color that John's mother ever wore, besides very like modest colors like black and white, and that dress was also the dress that she used to sing in that club that she was known as, or she sang in. And the fifth one is voice, and it is about Owen's voice. Okay, so I need to start over again. So the fifth and final vocab word in this chapter that we covered is voice, and it's basically just Owen's voice, and his voice is very
Unique.
yeah, unique. Even like Johnny's mother's like teacher thought it was very like out of ordinary.
It's pretty much something you don't forget about.
Yeah, it's like, and it can't really like make any other sound besides like him like sounding really childish and like very high pitched. It also counts as the voice Owen thinks was given to him by God to save the children in his dream too. And yeah.
Which will later be proven in the chapter.
Yeah.
Or book, technically.
Yeah. Okay. So lastly, the last thing we're gonna talk about is Vietnam War. I don't know. Okay. The Vietnam War, or throughout the story and the chapter, the book basically connects like real-time events that happened in history within the story. And one major thing that happened in throughout the story was the Vietnam War. I don't know what else. Who covered the Vietnam War?
John talks about his memories of wartime during that era because the Vietnam War was a very important historical event.
Okay, so throughout the book, A Prayer for Owen Meany connects with basically like his like past events throughout the chapter, and like
Like the Vietnam War.
yeah, it can. Okay, so like throughout the book, a major part of history that the book connects to is the Vietnam War, and the events that happened throughout that whole
Story.
yeah, throughout the story. So I don't know. I don't know much about Vietnam War. Renisi
Well,
or Jessica, I don't know.
well, the Vietnam War is basically where his dream is basically happening. It's like one of the symbolism of the dream. When he has the dream, it's not like he's fighting in the Vietnam War, but it is part of it because technically he's saving children who are Vietnamese when they're arriving back. Because
But he actually doesn't know that it's like Vietnamese kids, but like he knows it's children. We find out about that he's saving Vietnamese kids like at the end of the story.
yeah, which is how we find out that it's connected more to the Vietnam War. Also because sometimes it's mentioned that they're at war with Vietnamese people. And throughout the later chapters, but it's also really historically important because even though it doesn't mention that he died in the Vietnam War, it was revealed though at the end of the story. But there's also the parts where he knew that a war was gonna begin throughout most of the story, like when there was the war with when they were discussing if there was gonna be a war with Russia over Cuba. For when they were placing the missiles, he said that it wasn't going to happen, but there was going to be a war. It's like a foreshadowing because he knew that there was going to be a war because of his dream.
Also, like another part of history that was connected with Owen Meany in this chapter was the fact about President Kennedy and his affair with Marilyn Monroe. So basically, like, Owen looks up to President Kennedy like his idol, and he's like disgusted and like
shocked
when he found out about it. Like he had an affair.
Yeah, with Marilyn Monroe when Larry's mother like confirms about this
Towards
information.
Owen.
So the subtitle for the total of the chapter, The Dream, is basically, I shall accept the faith given to me by God, for I am his instrument. Technically, his dream is technically what he will later do in life. Even though throughout the chapters he starts doubting it like near the end, but he knows that it's happening when he sees all the children coming out and the nuns. But basically he accepts his faith because he does think he is the instrument of God, even though Johnny doesn't think. Owen does think so, and he will accept his faith because he is a very strong believer in God, and he has faith in him that he will believe, and also because he is a Jesus Christ figure, and it's the same way like how it happened in religion. Jesus Christ took his faith seriously. He knew he was gonna die, and he accepted it. Because it was going to help out a whole lot of other people. They weren't going to benefit from it, but they would do it for other people.
Is that all?
No.
Here's Poppy Unicorns dancing on Rainbow.
That's the end of this chapter.
Yeah!